Oh, it's alive! It's alive! It's alive! It's alive!
Muttering for it. Gentlemen, you can't fight in here. This is the war room.
I love you.
I know.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard.
Hello and welcome to another episode of How to Be a Movie Snob. I am joined here with Mariah.
Hello.
From the lovely land of Dallas, Texas. Oregon. Dallas, Oregon. Oregon, that's right, Oregon. And coming from us live from the brothel, Patrick G. How's it going? Oh. Careful.
Fake gun.
Fake gun, folks. There's orange. Although Pat does also paint his real guns with orange, so it's going to be very confusing later.
No one knows.
Nobody knows. Awkward every time. Folks, guess what? We got a movie this week, and guess what?
It's a doozy.
It's a doozy. We are going straight up to Hong Kong. This is our first Hong Kong movie. Second, technically, right? No, In the Mood for Love was mainland. Or was it Hong Kong? Oh, man, Pat.
I don't know.
That's embarrassing. Oh, I'm going. Anyways, this is our first
That
Hong
was
Kong
lost
action
anyway,
film.
so it
That's
doesn't
true.
matter.
The lost
The first.
episode.
Don't speak of it.
So today we are doing a classic Hong Kong movie to some, to others maybe not, but we'll argue about that in a little bit. But it did start a whole genre, or maybe change the way a genre is filmed, especially in the action scenes. Probably unapologetically, this director alone. And this director is Mr. Pat. Who are we talking about today?
John Woo.
John Woo.
Johnny Woo.
Whoop-de-woo. And the movie we're doing today is the way Mariah likes her eggs.
Hard boiled.
Hard-boiled. We like to start out things really action-packed and jumping through things with things exploding in large muzzle fires. So we're going to start out with our hot takes.
Hot.
Coming out
Cold brews, hot takes.
Hot takes, cold brews on your How to Be a Movie Snob. Mariah, let's go ahead and knock us out of the park here with your hot take.
This movie is dumb. Hot take.
Mariah, when you say dumb, do you mean it is different than you're used to, or just is it too snobby for you, or what do you mean dumb?
It is not even close to snobby.
You probably
friends.
didn't get it.
Mm.
I probably missed it.
probably-
I probably missed all of the symbolism.
Very
and
layered.
The deep things.
Really, yeah, it really is one of those, like, you could watch this like 10 times and still not quite get it.
Mm-hmm. And every time you're getting just a new piece.
I can't tell you how annoying the first hour was for me.
But I guess you're going to. So here we go.
I mean, that's
I
why we're
couldn't,
here, basically.
but I will.
Yeah, but you will.
'Cause
Pat,
that's what this podcast
hot take.
is for.
Tequila is a terrible cop, and soprano sax is not cool.
First of all, is that a soprano
I
sax?
thought it was jazz
or was
clarinet.
it just a jazz clarinet? I'm pretty sure it was a clarinet.
Because
Because that was a clarinet.
Yes,
yes,
clarinet.
I saw that because as a guy who was in jazz band, and I thought right away, that's not a jazz instrument. But
No.
and the
I
best
mean-
part is how cool he felt when he did it. That's the best part
Yeah.
about the whole thing.
Will Ferrell made jazz flute, that could
No.
not make
The-
jazz clear.
The jazz flute's a legit thing. A lot of saxophone players also play the flute. And okay, we're going down a road we don't need to go. Anywho,
It's a long hot take.
long hot take. This movie changed movies forever, but you don't need to watch it. That's my hot take. Because it is nothing was like this before. It is pinnacle, but unfortunately, the horse has been beat to death.
All the good bits you're going to get in different movies
Oh,
later on.
and
Don't
honestly-
worry about this.
The best part of this would be to watch it on like the quarter cruise, like stuntman reacts, because these stunts were crazy.
Yeah, there were some
and
insane
legit.
stunts. Definitely thought, that guy died.
Oh, there were some that I was like that. he bounced off the car in the wrong way. Like there was
Yeah,
a few
yeah.
of those. I'm like, I think he should have had more of like a take when he hit that. But
Yeah.
but
The warehouse scene specifically, I thought, oof,
I-
there are people falling from far, hitting
Far.
things wrong.
They're really
far away.
bursting with a lot of blood.
There was a lot of
A lot of blood, a lot of fire.
So much blood.
Okay, so before we jump into what this movie is or was, Mariah, you get the lovely task of Mariahizing.
Oh,
This
dear.
week's samurai. Oh, sorry, it's kung fu. My bad.
Yeah.
Of
We're in
Summer
Hong Kong.
Horizon is sponsored
Gun
by no one, unsullied by sponsorships since 2022.
Still.
That's why we're
Still.
able to tell it how it is.
Like it is.
We're on a
No one gets
streak.
in the way. That's right. Okay, Mariah, lay it down.
Oh. All right.
What is this movie?
Let's
I'm
go-
probably gonna learn something right now.
This-
I know tequila.
This 1992 movie
Dun, 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 dun,
starts
dun,
in
dun,
a tea house.
dun.
A tea house
Tequila.
in Hong Kong. And a couple of detectives are trying to bust some bad guys for gun something or other deal.
Gun running.
Anyway, lots of bullets fly. His buddy, partner guy, dies.
Dies.
Bummer.
Super bummer.
So he kind of, goes about getting some revenge and gets in trouble with the big boss. And is already in trouble with the girlfriend who also works for the department.
But man, can
and-
she sing?
Yeah. But boy, she knows her notes.
She knows her want notes.
But not as good as Tequila does.
Hey,
Tequila.
he got his name for a reason.
The
That
musician.
that jazz clarinet doesn't just fade away. Tequila's here to stay.
So we got a mishmash here of undercover cops, some rival bad guys,
Mhm. Yep.
some
Cigar
Some
lighters.
triad,
cigarettes.
overthrowy.
Always
some
triads.
jazz club action,
Always.
some many guns, many babies,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
a lot of babies.
A lot of babies.
Surprising amount of babies.
surprising amount of babies, not so much surprising amount of guns, but
No shortage of innocent victim bystander murder.
So many
Sure.
dead. So many dead.
To the,
I was
to the point where it
Yeah.
felt like the cops were pretty much trying to make that happen based off of their behavior.
yeah. I just wonder that there were anyone left in the hospital.
It was-
Oh yeah.
There was
So
enough
many people
bodies.
died.
So many.
Oh. Okay. Let's start out with what this movie is famous for and why we even watched it. Which Mariah's like, why the heck did we watch this?
Slow motion. Pew, pew, pew.
Well, we got to go back. Did you guys look at all the gunfights before John Woo? Just gunfights in general before John Woo.
No.
I didn't have 100 years to do that.
Well,
I
here's the thing. You don't have to because it's all super boring. It's literally bang, bang, bang.
Pew, pew.
Fall down.
Fall down
You know,
dead.
jumping behind stuff. I mean, we've
Nobody
seen John Wick.
nobody
Yeah.
falls down in this.
No, they
They get
explode.
blown away. Blown away.
It's so funny because we've made fun of this
The stuntman dance.
so much. Oh, it's so great.
The amount of barrels rolling over people and
But I just wish I had seen this movie like
before all the comparables.
Oh,
Me too.
you know what?
Well, yeah,
I would have
it felt like a
appreciated more.
parody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It felt like a parody of itself
Yeah.
in a way because it was so overstuffed with
Oh,
all these things. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that John Woo basically created this story and it was all built around the idea of like he's going to keep one-upping each major set piece
yes.
versus I think when he came to the States, he wasn't directing stuff he wrote, right?
No, that's true.
And so there was like a narrative structure
Some
he had to like
parameters.
put fight into.
That's true.
And I think honestly made it work better and
Oh,
maybe just
totally.
the quality of camera and
Totally.
whatever. Like to me, this is like almost like the worst way to see John Woo's stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when we didn't even
Totally-
get, we didn't even
totally
get dubbed
disagree.
in this scene.
Oh, it's true.
We didn't even get dubs.
So, the worst way to watch John Woo.
Look, I feel like he shot every moment of this movie better in a different movie.
Sure. Oh, well, totally. 100%.
Like he got better.
He also got a
style.
whole lot more budget and a whole lot better writers.
Yes, 100%. Yeah. Like it's not necessarily a dig on him. It's just
no. Can we
it's
say
got like the jittery slow mo, which I know people kind of
it's kind of
use.
hip now.
Michael Mann used it sometimes.
Yeah, it's kind of hip.
I don't love it.
No,
it's like
it's whatever. I mean, the freeze frame still crack me up. We get to that in a second.
Frame.
Oh, they
and then
crack
they
me
threw
up.
wipes in there in a random scene.
The wipes crack. Oh.
It was just this movie was kitchen sinked, right? It was just
It's
what
all
else
there.
can we throw in?
Oh, kitchen sink.
It's like
I
the
didn't know
whole.
how that
It's like
phrase
the whole
worked.
beginning of
Everything but the kitchen sink.
the
I get
other
it now.
guys with Samuel L. Jackson and The Rock. Like
Yeah.
this is just as dramatic
It's so
as
good.
what they did.
It's so good.
You know, everything's exploding.
There wasn't even a bush nearby. I don't even understand. They just jumped. Okay. I just lost my thought. That other guys ruined me. Thanks a lot for that one.
Can you just see them jumping
Thanks
off the
a lot
building?
for that one.
Jumping out of the building with a baby, holding onto an electrical cord. That doesn't even help you in your landing. It's the same length as the ground.
Oh, stop.
But I digress.
Oh.
Can
Okay.
we start at the beginning and talk about the Bird Cafe?
We can start at the beginning. I was going to go into the director and other stuff
Is
first.
this a
but
thing?
Yeah, we'll get back to it.
We'll get back to it. Yeah.
Do we
Oh
bring
my God.
birds into the tea house? Does everybody do that?
It's John Woo, so there's better be a freaking bird in there. If I've learned anything
guess
about
there
John
were
Woo's
birds,
movie, there's
but they
always
weren't slow-mo,
birds.
and they weren't doves. I also didn't understand it. So I thought like
Doesn't seem
They came
sanitary.
I remember my statement now. Thanks, guys.
they came
I'll
in
come back to
first.
it.
Yeah, they came in first with their birds.
Yeah.
Right. So they were the first people in there with birds.
Obviously, a bird cafe, guys.
Yeah.
And
This was
I was like,
Bird
oh,
tea house.
like this is like, look at, like I'm trying to be noticed for some reason. I couldn't figure it out. And I was like, no, these also guys are coming in with birds.
Yeah.
And then
If you
then
weren't-
it became like, I don't understand.
If you didn't have a bird, you were making bird sounds.
actually few people know this. This is actually a remake of the Disney ride, The Tiki Room. Few people know that, but this is actually
They
look
cut
it
out
up.
all the songs.
Yeah,
It
no,
makes more
It
sense.
makes a lot more
It
sense.
makes way more sense. now.
I want to touch on something because I finally remembered it. All
Touch on it.
the best movies seem to be made with restraints. George Lucas at his best had parameters. John Woo's obviously way better with parameters. Usually when people are left unfettered, it's usually terrible. So it definitely seems to be a theme with
You get
these
Xanadu.
movies. Yes, you do. Exactly right. So I think that's something I will always come back to, like, be like all these movies that ended up really good were because they had to work within some certain parameters that they didn't want to work within. And this obviously is not the case for the clarinet playing alcoholic police sergeant with a reputation for defying his superiors.
Yeah, they didn't really play up the alcoholism so much.
No, not so much.
Wait,
He had two
one drink.
two in the movie.
We're gonna-
Each time it was when he was like with the
We're
bartender.
gonna drink more.
John
Sure.
Woo.
We're gonna drink more in this podcast than they drank in the entire
Actually,
movie.
and let's get into that. We're in the credits. We have a tight close up on him pouring like a tequila soda. What was that?
I don't know.
It better have been tequila,
fizzy
right?
lifting drink.
I hope
Since,
so.
since his name tequila.
Yeah, I would hope.
And then he puts a napkin on the top,
and
Yep.
slams it.
slams it. The napkin did basically nothing.
No.
And apparently this was a thing John Woo, I figured he did or something. He thought he looked so cool. Like he thought he was a cool guy because he did it like that.
That's too bad.
And I think, like, in a way it was kind of cool, but the fact that the reveal was he's throwing this down right before he plays jazz clarinet.
It looked like Alka-Seltzer situation. Like, is he just,
Yeah.
trying to get his throat ready for the
Everyone
But
knows
it's just,
if you can play jazz clarinet, you have to do the
Slam
tequila.
it.
Yeah.
slam it?
but it was this weird build-up to, like, a real cool thing. Like, this guy's going to be the biggest badass you've ever seen. you know, and you're like,
What the hell?
What is this movie?
Yeah.
And then I was like, is he? I thought he was a cop. You know, like,
Yeah.
when has he become a cop? Not for a while.
No. Because he's got girl problems. He's got Jazz to deal with.
Jazz is hard to
He's
deal
poor.
with.
He's poor.
Also, they're like,
Where's he going to live?
maybe you should go live at the Y.
Yeah.
Oh.
There was a lot of weird subplotty things where it was like, this doesn't matter at all.
By the way, the Y in Hong Kong is super expensive. I don't know why they thought it was like super cheap. I guess it probably was back
In
then.
1992, it
Yeah,
could have
there you
been,
go.
Long term.
a good
It
deal.
was like $90 last time I stayed there. Shoot. By the way,
In Hong Kong.
in Hong Kong, this is kind of fun because Hong Kong back then still had the Kowloon district, which was like the super shady drugs and like triad area. So this is kind of fun. Like all these Hong Kong movies are like OG Hong Kong, which was long gone whenever I visited. Now it's like a park where all these places were. But
Well, speaking of that, so the tea house they filmed in was scheduled to get demoed, basically, and they're like, oh, well, then let's film something here. The script wasn't done. They're just
that's
like,
great.
let's just film a scene here because we can blow the hell out of this building. And not only did the neighbors rightfully complain every night about the gunfire keeping them up, and apparently the cops were like, whatever, we like John Woo.
But also the
so we're
amount
gonna
of bird feathers that were everywhere.
Yeah,
too.
but no, different triads kept coming to be like, you got to pay us off to like allow you to shoot here.
Whoa.
Like, so it was between neighbors complaining about nightly gunfire and the triad coming to get shakedowns. It was like pretty.
That's legit.
Also,
That's
starting
legit.
to film a movie with no real script just because you wanted to blow up something. Is
Oh,
hilarious
please.
to me.
Wong Kar-wai laughs at that. Script. Who needs a script? Let's just hang out for like 17 months and figure it out in the end.
Yeah.
Tony Leung's like, oh yeah, I'm used to this.
Yeah.
Like, whatever. Let's just
Like,
film forever.
This is the worst. You know what's funny? For the lost episode, I do bring up In the Mood for Love a lot because there's nothing like it in the fact that it's the most ridiculous way to make a movie. The most ridiculous way where they just shot and decide what to do in the end. But now watching John Woo, I think he just does action scene, and then
But yeah, so that one, like, I mean, what was interesting about like his whole thing was he shot sequentially too, so he kind of know what he needed to do to one up himself later. So the tea house is the first thing, which like, man, they killed so many
people,
innocent people.
So well,
And that to me,
they seem guilty to me. But go ahead.
And birds.
They started this whole like what was the police's plan? Because it was like, this restaurant is bustling with people. Why do you need to like not? And they didn't be like, hey, freeze, police.
No.
They knocked over the bird thing that had hidden guns.
Yes.
Poor birds. Those birds are dead, by the way.
Oh yeah.
There's no way anybody thought about the birds.
And then they just start throwing hot teapots at each other.
Oh.
So
And
good.
start
That's
opening
right.
fire.
Oh my gosh.
And then I think a minute later, someone said, police, freeze.
Yeah. It took a little bit.
So for all intents and purposes, the bad guys were just defending themselves for a second. You know, it was
We just
like,
thought we were
just
going to
got
have some
jumped.
tea and do a little deal here. But no, things just got really
And
crazy.
isn't that like the best way to sell guns is to hide them in the bottom of a bird cage? Like, just go outside to the trunk of your car. There's a lot of like,
oh, this is a discreet carrying case for weapons.
this thing chirping the whole way in. No one's going to notice me. There was a lot of logic, and this is true in like all John Woo things, in both delightful and annoying ways. Just the lack of logic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we talked before we started recording about like bullet count doesn't matter. No gun ever needs to reload.
Yeah, they don't need it. They just keep going.
No.
Unlimited. It's just like so many people
And
die.
if you need to
It's
carry
crazy.
on with 12 bullet wounds down your back, you can do it. You just keep going.
Oh yeah,
Just keep
a
going.
shotgun
Oh,
straight down your back, and you just kind of go, "Ugh,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
okay."
For sure.
Yeah. So then there's a weird. Man, this movie was weird. So we
I have
set
some
up. We
problems.
try and very quickly set up the relationship between Tequila and his partner, Buddy, and they're like, "Oh, and you have an 8-year-old son, or
Benny.
whatever, right?" It's like, yeah, it's
Benny
like, oh,
Mac.
you have this whole family, and everything's going great for you, and then of course everyone says, "I'm going to live and die here," and anyone who says that dies. And it's like, bro, don't say that in a movie. It's your death sentence.
Yep.
But it was like, it felt like they could have met each other for the first time going to that. Like, oh, you're newly assigned to the force.
Yeah.
Like, this feels like a conversation the first time you know anything about each other.
Yeah.
Is kind of what it was. Just so weird.
I think it also.
and now the whole movie's vengeance for this guy, kind of.
I think
But
there
the
was
next
so
scene, he
much
was also laughing it off.
cut. I think there was so much cut, and I know a lot of it had to do with Tequila's story and his, character
his
building, and
Yeah.
maybe that's part of what was cut. Like, I know that he wanted John Woo to play the bartender just to keep some part of
Yes.
his character building, and
That
he's
was
not gonna
hilarious.
cut himself out of the movie.
True. Good point.
Yeah.
Gotta
You're
keep
gonna
the
be
director.
you're gonna be my mentor guy that talks to me at the bar.
Yeah,
so
I
funny.
think we were going to get a little more jazz flute at Benny's grave.
Yeah,
That's
we missed
jazz
that.
clarinet. Thank you very
Jazz
much.
clarinet. I'm sorry.
Maybe
Jeez
there was an
Louise.
ensemble that was gonna play.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We will
I
never
hope
know.
so.
The
It's
jazz
on-
woodwinds. Here we go.
It's on the cutting room floor.
Yeah,
Sorry.
someone pulls it out of their sleeve.
Sorry, Benny.
So yeah, but we kick off this kind of revenge thing, but there's also a real lackadaisical vibe at the police station. And they're talking, later then he's talking about being poor. And it's like, I don't know that he cared that much about Benny till later. And he
Yeah.
kind of talked about caring.
It's like, she kicked me out, and then I've got some stuff of yours, and it's this bag of underwear. I want you to take that. All you left was your underwear. What have you been wearing? Here's your stuff.
I mean, Tequila doesn't wear professional. That's not his style. Tequila's a dirty guy.
He took his clarinet and left his underwear.
Hey, you don't get a
Also,
name like
I had a hard
tequila.
time. I had a hard time figuring out where he was in the pecking order, because eventually
Oh,
you're like,
so
you have
confusing.
your own office,
Yeah.
But then,
and you're the head detective.
kind of, yeah, for
Kinda.
sure.
Yeah.
Get out of my
It
office.
was just a bizarre.
I run the
setup.
station. Okay.
Yeah.
This is-
Yeah, and there's kind of a real impotent superintendent.
Who was a
you better
real
act straight.
who
Yeah,
was
it
a
was a
real
real one.
cop
oh, he's actually a real
Yeah.
cop?
15 years.
Oh, that's great.
He was like, this
Yeah,
felt really
he's,
familiar to me, is what he's saying.
Oh, that's
like,
funny.
was there that many bullets in your real job?
Yeah,
How
Hong
does this
Kong's
feel
Dennis
real?
Farina.
Mad points for Pat for that one. That is a deep cut there.
But yeah, it was such a weird. Just everything was pretty weird.
I'm not gonna lie.
Okay, actually, here's a question: who's the real lead in this movie?
Ooh, there was no lead.
Like, you could argue there's two leads.
I was
but
going to
would
argue
say
the guns were the lead because they lead out in every scene.
Well, I think Alan got the best storyline.
Alan felt like more
He really
of
did.
the arc.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But that
So we
could have
just
just been
started with-
what was missing from the story, the original.
Yeah.
Who knows? But
Well,
the way it played out, Alan, I feel like got the better.
Tony Leung was nominated for Best Supporting Actor for this, and
Mhm.
refused it because he said I was the lead.
Oh.
And,
Get out of here.
John Woo and was like, yes, I agree. He was a co-lead, and so they eventually made it so you could have co-leads.
So
those
you
award
knew the
ceremonies.
answer. You were just
Well, but
Goading
I
us
wasn't
on.
Sure. I wasn't
leading the witness.
Leading.
I would've
I just wasn't sure who. It did feel like Tony Leung's character had more of a thing to follow. Like Chow Yun-fat was just sort of around, just causing mayhem every now and again.
He's
I
like,
don't know.
He's like Danny Glover.
oh, okay. Go on.
Lethal Weapon.
And Lethal
Yeah,
Weapon.
yeah. Lethal Weapon. So
he's
Danny
not
Glover.
necessarily a supporting actor, but he's not wasn't meant to be the lead.
Really? I still think, I don't know. Watching
And he had
it,
a better back. Well, he had more of a story.
He had more of a story. I felt like Chow Yun-fat was the main guy, though.
I think he was meant to be.
Sometimes, yeah.
So
that's what I just kind of felt interesting to me. Like,
well,
I think because Tequila's like reason for like driving forward, other than being a cop, to me it felt a little weak. Like Benny dying, because again they killed cops and citizens left and right. Didn't really matter. So Benny, in the mix, I don't
Doesn't matter.
Birds, everyone got taken
everyone's
out.
dead.
Whereas Tony Leung had this like, he betrayed his boss and he's undercover and he's like, that's a way harder position to be in.
Definitely had to kill a lot of people. Undercover.
And he like
had to prove a lot of
he
stuff.
was the houseboat guy. We saw his home. We didn't see Chow Yun-fat's home.
He doesn't have a
who's
home.
the lead?
Yeah.
Got kicked out.
Clearly.
Lives at the Y
sure
with
where
his
he was.
underwear and his clarinet.
That's true.
Sleeping at the jazz club.
When you can play clarinet like that, you don't need a home. You go wherever you want.
Right.
Yeah, didn't what was Mel Gibson's character's name? Murtaugh and who?
Riggs.
I think to Mariah's point.
Riggs, there you go.
Riggs. Tony Leung is more the Riggs, and Chow Yun-fat is more the Murtaugh. So I think
Really?
there's a good argument. Yeah.
Okay. I like it.
I'm pretty sure Riggs lived on like a boat or in a little camper or something.
Yeah, that's
weird.
true.
It was like a trailer, I think.
Yeah, because like that's the cool thing.
But you were there a lot.
Is
You were
Lethal
always
Weapon just a sequel to Hard Boiled?
Yeah, maybe.
An unofficial.
And the only part of
alternate
Murtaugh's
reality
house you
sequel?
see is this toilet.
Yes.
Maybe it's
Well,
a
every now and
remake.
again, in the sequels, his
In and out
daughter
of the
plays a
door.
part.
Right.
Hmm.
Mostly. you just
Anyway,
see
we
his bathroom.
didn't watch Lethal Weapon
Not this time.
2, 3, or 4. So hard boiled. So okay, then we get to
So many questions.
the warehouse set piece, because really this movie is 3 set pieces and
Yes, it's true.
randomness in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
We get to the warehouse, and Tequila's there basically from the get, and he's all armored up,
Yep.
but no one else came with him. Was that like because the inspector was like, "You can't do anything"?
He
and so
said
didn't
leave
have
it
the other guys
alone.
come?
I think he warned him to like leave it alone, like stop doing anything.
Yeah.
And so he went rogue, and
So he went by himself,
I think so.
and then just kind of hung out in the little tower for a bit,
Yeah.
and then ran into the smoke. There's just a lot of like, what's anyone's plan?
No plan.
And
Yeah,
it
it
was
doesn't
so,
seem like there's many
it's
plans
such a
going on.
strange. The plot. Should we talk about the plot? Does it matter? Are we bearing the lead here? It's not about the plot.
I'm not gonna lie. I was laughing the whole time. You guys just like complain about the plot. 'Cause I'm like, it doesn't matter.
It does.
The whole triad, like the new guy getting rid of the old guy and wanting to take over the whole thing.
I mean, this is basically. It just reminded me of The Godfather. It's just like basically the same
It was like
movie.
Dick Tracy and
Nice, Dick Tracy.
I thought Dick Tracy reminded me a little bit. Also missing some plot.
There we go. Yeah, and
Less Madonna.
Well, I don't know. Chow Yun-fat is kind of a Madonna.
Actually, speaking of missing actresses, Michelle Yeoh.
Michelle Yeoh was
supposed to be
cast for that.
in
Yeah, shout out
this.
to
And
Michelle
then
Yeoh.
she couldn't do it, so they kind of made her part pretty lame.
Academy
Oh.
Award-winning Michelle Yeoh, by the way.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well
hello.
done.
They also, the original version of the script had pretty wild what this movie was going to be. Tony Leung's character was just going to be a bad guy who wanted to poison babies for some reason.
Yeah, they left a really, really unfortunate. Thankfully, that also was cut because what?
Yeah, and they're like, maybe don't do that. And I think
Like,
even
don't
Chow
poison
Yun-fat's
the
like,
babies,
don't-
but let's have 100 of them. We don't want them poisoned.
Right. We don't want to lose babies.
We want them all
And I
in
think
danger.
They kept the hospital as like a set piece.
Yes.
But yeah, Chow Yun-fat was like, Tony, you shouldn't do that because that will like kill your career if you're like a baby killer.
Yeah, it's like
And so then they're like,
babies and dogs.
Instead,
Don't do it.
Birds.
Instead, you'll be
Birds, it's okay.
You can kill birds.
a good guy.
Cats, you can kill cats. No one cares. So, some things that I was thinking about for this movie, because obviously I didn't think about the plot for 2 seconds.
You didn't have to think a lot.
No. But
it's
I did.
not deep. There
No,
aren't
definitely not
layers.
deep.
It's not an onion.
But thanks, Shrek. So
Onions have layers. John Woo movies do not,
not have.
layers.
Yes, I do have layers of explosions.
Hey,
Oh,
Face Off.
so good.
That's a very clear layer.
Very
that
clear.
You put on another person's
It's another
face.
It's
face, literal, actual face. And here's the thing: coming from Chinese culture, where you lose face, I never made it. It never became more literal. Okay.
Actually,
okay.
before you get into whatever cool point, I'm sure you're gonna make.
Wherever you were going, let's put a pin in it for a sec.
Whatever
So
cool thing that I'm not gonna care about, go for
I'm
it.
sure what you're gonna say is amazing.
Cool, bro.
I mean, I was just curious what your guys' John Woo experience was before this movie, because this is my first Hong Kong
Yes,
John Woo.
which was what I was about
movie.
to get into, but yeah, go for
Yeah,
it.
first
Just,
and
just
only.
you go ahead, buddy. No,
First and
no,
only,
no,
I
Pat,
would
you take
imagine.
this. Pat, no, Pat, you go ahead on this one.
Well, I felt like I watched, I think even unknowingly for a little bit, like I saw Hard Target, like
Oh, good for you. See,
back
I
in the day.
I did not see Hard Target, so for me
No.
it was Mission
I
Impossible.
went through a real
Yeah.
Jean-Claude phase. And then, of course, Mission Impossible,
Yeah.
Face Off, Broken Arrow.
Yeah,
I
all
was
saw
down
all
for
those. Yeah,
Loved him.
yeah. So I assumed that was just like that was the John Woo, whatever. So I didn't have any exposure
Yeah.
to his other stuff, except because I was more into like the Jackie Chan, Bruce Lee back then. So I'm more
Yeah,
more
Rumble in the
yes,
Bronx and
exactly right.
Super Cop.
Whereas there's less explosions, but still all the hijinks.
But also, like, I think there's kind of an interesting thing. I was maybe expecting more martial arts, but, like, that's not John Woo's
No,
thing,
it was
really. He's more a gun explosion guy.
Well,
yeah, and
so
dummies, a lot of
but
dummies.
are we not going to talk about the elephant in the room? Gung Fu.
Yeah,
Gun
and
Fu, because
also
this is the original Gun Fu movie. Not this one, but John Woo in general is the one who like
Super clever.
brought it in.
It gun shooting choreography.
Mm-hmm.
I would argue maybe it doesn't go full gun fu, like Equilibrium.
Well, Equilibrium.
Is a very
So
true like
Equilibrium
that's the
is
premise
like,
of the movie.
but
gunfight.
Equilibrium's like jazz or classic music. John Woo is like the punk rock of Gung Fu, is what I would argue. Because Equilibrium is, if you haven't seen Equilibrium, by the way, it came out the same year as The Matrix, and it's so freaking good in gun battle.
Good.
It's so good. It's just a shame that The Matrix came out the same year because
I saw The Matrix.
Oh, that's cool. Here's your pumpkin spice latte.
I don't know that I can actually vouch for Equilibrium as a movie, but I remember it's been a long time since I've seen it.
Oh,
but
man.
I remember like it's got some cool.
Don't listen to Pat and
It's got
Mariah.
some cool scenes.
Listener, Equilibrium is well worth your time, and it's one of the best gun fu movies ever made.
Well,
And it's got Ty Diggs in
100%.
it. Hello, Ty Diggs.
Tay Diggs.
Christian
Whatever.
Bale.
And Christian Bale, yeah, he's all right.
And one of those many things you're like, oh, Christian Bale is in this?
Oh, it's so good. I think if The Matrix didn't happen, it would have been way huger. Because The
Yes, I
Matrix
agree.
was
It's kind of the same
Yeah,
trench coaty gun.
it is trench coaty, gun, martial arty. But see because The Matrix did the opposite of what John Woo does, which is like slows it down in all of the things. Well, John Woo made like big booms and impact, while The Matrix was all like dirt and dust and other stuff around them. No muzzle flares,
Yeah.
because John Woo was
They
like
slow the bullets down. whereas
Exactly right.
John
explodes the
Well,
bullets.
explodes.
I mean, John Woo
Unlimited
went slow-mo,
bullets.
but The Matrix, went bullet time. So it's just different.
But they didn't do the blood in The Matrix. They didn't do the explosions in The Matrix.
Yeah.
They didn't
Well, they
do.
exploded quite. But it
Yes,
just
but it was actual like you could see, like how guns actually do work. in The
even like
Matrix.
more of The Matrix is about martial arts.
Yes, exactly right. Because The Matrix is actually more of a martial arts movie, and John Woo movies are more about the gun actually firing and hitting their target movie.
Yeah, and slow-mo spins and pulling your gun out, and the jumping guns.
Yes, the jumping guns.
This reminded me of this kind of stuff is, why it's so funny in like Hot Fuzz.
Yes, exactly. Ow, it hurts so bad.
Have you ever shot two guns while jumping through the air? And it's so like good. Everyone in this movie did.
Every time, my shoulders hurt for them every time they landed. Yeah. I'm like, ow, ow.
The cartoon level. Also, this is a funny thing. John Woo told the crew, like, this one will be a little more, like, a little less stylish, more gritty, edgy. And then immediately was like, I can't do that. I'm just going to go crazy. Like, there's a scene where they're jumping back and forth through every window, like 3 times in a row.
Yeah.
And you're like, kind of awesome, kind of insanely
stupid.
Dumb.
Yeah.
Why?
Good.
Is there no doors here?
Yeah, and also people
when John Woo closes the door, he opens a window.
He blasts through a window.
He explodes a window.
There we go.
Shatters.
Everyone's an amazing shot or a terrible
shot. The scene that cracked me up was, well, first of all, the guy who puts the two. I'm just gonna put the two electric wires together.
The hell with it.
Oh my gosh! And then all of a sudden, the guy who hasn't missed anyone the entire movie starts shooting at them point blank and misses them completely. Neither one of them.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my gosh, we're stormtroopers now. What is going on?
Yeah. Can we talk about Mad Dog?
Mad Dog.
Yes.
Dude.
Please do.
Love me some Mad Dog.
He's a great character.
It's like No Country for Old Men.
Oh, it's so good.
And then all of a sudden he gets this conscience at the very end. Like, hey.
Yeah, he had a line.
That's enough.
He had a line.
That's enough killing of all these innocent folks.
I liked it. So that's another fun thing. That he's the action choreographer or the action director. And
Philip
Philip Kwok?
I think so.
And apparently, once they kind of got through the script and they realized Johnny Wong, is that the bad guy's name? I forget.
Yeah.
Johnny something.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm working on Philip's name.
Kind of like a weak bad guy, and so they're like, we need a heavy, and like he's doing cool stuff, so like let's write him the part of Mad Dog, and they just threw him in there.
Dope.
Man,
that's so cool. It's a great bad guy.
He was a
so
great
cool.
bad guy. He really was.
Got the eye patch pretty early in the scar.
The scar.
He's and there've probably been heavies in other movies, but like he's a super great template for a heavy. And I like that he had a little quirky line thing, similar to No Country for Old Men. Like he's got rules.
Yeah.
And he was all down on Tony Leung for betraying the boss. He had these.
There's certain things I'm not cool with.
I'm not into that.
Yeah. That's good.
I can't believe you.
Yeah.
I like it.
So
Bad Dog.
What this movie is kind of a line in the sand of Hong Kong and of action movies. It is it's before America embraced the craziness of action scenes being just outrageous.
But America liked this one.
And
yeah,
well,
for
and
sure.
on the end
more than Hong Kong did.
And of China, liking this stuff. They wanted to go more into comedies. The heroic gunslinger, I forget what they had a genre they almost called it. Like they were like, we're sort of over this.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of why, John
moved to America.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I think it was nice too that not nice, but I liked that he wanted to make a movie that glorified police instead of all of the bad guys that he'd been doing. I want to do one that showcases the fact that these guys are the heroes.
I want the police to kill as many people as the bad guys kill.
I mean, I want there to be a whole lot of collateral damage.
Right.
Always.
There was that interesting monologue about how, it's unfair that the police are the guys who have to like follow the rules, and bad guys don't have to follow rules or write paperwork, or
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, that's kind of the whole thing, man. Like that's what you signed up for.
That's what they're
But there's this
supposed to
weird
do.
like, I felt like maybe that was some, with John Woo being like, no, this is them showing like they're kind of the same,
Yeah.
but like different. Like I don't know,
Very
it was
Heat.
just odd.
This is basically Heat.
Very Heat.
Very Heat.
Very Heat.
Yeah.
It's such a, oh my gosh. There's so many.
It basically felt like De Niro and Pacino back and forth in the dialogue. It was very Heat.
Super.
Okay, but the other part is like, but you're right. That dynamic.
Clooney and Pitt, or
Shoot.
The great duo. Well, what was
Travolta.
interesting, another thing I read, speaking of dynamic duos, apparently John Woo was very heavily influenced by the end of Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid.
Yes, I'm glad you brought this up. I'm glad you brought this up.
Two dudes
Yes.
running out, guns a-blazing. And
Yeah.
he's just like, I'm going to make every movie that for 2 hours.
For 2 hours straight.
And that was the only part
exactly
of the
right.
movie I liked was the end where they're like having fun
Yep.
and
No, that's
getting
great.
shot and hurt multiple times, but they're okay.
They are A-okay.
We're gonna carry a baby out of here now.
Oh, baby. Oh, baby.
Okay, well, actually, I guess before we get to the 20-minute baby escape sequence, we had a real great oneer, which at this point in time,
What? How'd I miss
there's
that?
like a 2.5-minute shot when they're going around to the hospital corridors.
Oh, yes.
Swapping sides, and they go in the elevator and they have this conversation and they come back out. Like
Yes.
that scene. So
Yes.
apparently they kind of did it because they were like running low on time and
2
everyone was
minutes
tired,
and
so,
46
like, well,
seconds. Is that one?
Let's stop doing setups. But like with the amount of like squibs and explosions and everything, like that was an insane scene. And apparently, and I think this happens quite a bit, like when you go into elevators, right? You're not really in an elevator, it's just the doors closed. And so they had like 20 seconds, whatever that dialogue was, to redress the outside of the elevators, re-put explosives everywhere that needed to be before they came back out. Like, it's so impressive, like,
Yeah.
that they did it.
Yeah, this is a great scene. I'm watching it
And
again.
it's like-
oh, slow-mo. There's a slow-mo again. Here we go.
Yeah, every time they crossed, I laughed. Every time they
they do
crossed,
slow-mo.
it was like
they slow-mo.
jittery, slow-mo.
Let's slow it
What's
down.
going on with that? It's not like
Okay.
real slow-mo. They're
I'm
not
good.
over-cranking. It's like a digital slow-mo. What's the deal with that, Seth?
Oh, it's so bad.
Camera
It just
guy.
means they didn't shoot it in high enough frame rate to slow it down for real. So they had to
Yeah.
so they lost frames, so it looks like poo.
Which is a look, again, Michael Mann kind of did that a lot
Yeah.
later.
Yeah.
He liked it. It's like gritty. Oh, yeah, and
Gritty.
also I think they probably couldn't overcrank it because they were handheld cameras.
Oh my gosh.
Um,
The slow-mo of the guy who died. Like right next to
I
him.
don't know what it is.
He just
Oh,
killed the wrong guy or something.
But yeah, like super impressive. But anyway, like there's a lot of cool stuff. It just felt, to your point earlier, Seth, with a little bit more restraint.
Yep.
Are
It
you
would have
telling
been really
me
cool.
that putting cotton in babies' ears blocks out gunfire and that babies can pee enough to put your fire-lit pants out? Are you telling me that's too much? Like that
Well,
might
John-
be a little like over the top?
I don't know about the cotton ball thing, but
You
John
little
Woo did
piss
say every time he held a baby, it peed on him. And so he thought, well, of course it can put a fire out because every time you hold a baby, it'll
Clearly.
pee.
I assume he didn't have kids of his own.
No.
Well, and
It was
also
a
when the baby
ton of
gets
pee.
blood sprayed all over its face, and he just basically gives it a little wipe, and then it's totally clean.
That's the best.
Like, no, that baby would. And also just not
But yeah.
looking at you okay.
That's so good. This
The
slow
amount
motion
of,
kills
like,
me.
the baby thing was like a big, like, it's in promotional art where he's like in his dress blue.
Oh,
yeah,
it's so
carrying
funny.
the baby. I
The
kept looking
baby
at that
with a
picture
gun.
going, where's the baby?
Me
Where's,
too.
When is he
Me
going to hold
too.
the baby? Not till the very,
Very
end.
end. Mm.
But also, like, there's still like 40 minutes by the time the babies show up.
Yeah.
Because that was also the other weird thing. We have this scene where we go through the maternity ward,
Yes.
or the baby room,
Yeah.
and nursery. That's the word I wanted.
Yes.
They go through the
The 100
nursery
baby nursery.
before we see Foxy. I think it was that kind of part, and I was like, why are we playing up these babies so much?
Yeah.
I was happy. That's Chekhov's gun. It did come back. But then I also didn't care for all the baby shenanigans. And so many dudes died climbing out that window, saving these babies. And why are the bad guys constantly just trying to murder the babies?
Well, and they're trying
But
to
like
give
they're very deliberately
and they're trying to
not shooting out.
Yeah, and they're trying to keep the babies safe. So once they get them out of the hospital, they're setting them all down in the parking lot where people are being picked off. Like, this is not a safe place.
This is hilarious.
Don't put the baby down there. That's not a good idea. People were just getting, like, massacred out in this parking lot. Don't do that.
Oh, the body count.
I think the babies are the real stars
I'm
of
looking
this
this
movie.
up. We gotta look up the body count in this movie.
Oh yeah, well that's the body count.
Body count.
What happened to the
Also-
baby that Chow Yun-fat had? I want to know. Where's that baby now?
In real life.
Yeah.
Well, it's death for sure because
Yeah.
Cotton
Deaf.
Cotton will not
Traumatized.
silence blanks.
Yeah.
For sure.
Blanks are loud.
Yeah.
Um,
That baby could not have put out a fire even naked with a full bladder. I'm sorry. It's not even close.
also,
So good.
as long as it took, like he would have had like third-degree burns all over his legs.
Yeah. He's
It
all
was not a
stamping it out
fast
for like 5
thing.
seconds before the baby starts
Yeah.
crying. And it looked like he peed his pants.
Yeah,
I was like, did
thought that
he just?
too.
I was like, oh, that's clever. He might have had enough urine to do it, but that baby.
But not the
didn't.
baby.
No.
I 100% thought he peed his own pants.
I thought
Put out the fire. And I thought, wow, this guy.
He's a hard
Oh,
ass
no,
now.
stop.
We got this.
And like, how are you gonna explain that later? Also, like, I thought I wanted Teresa or whatever to be like, smell like piss, you know, like. And he's like, "Oh yeah, it was the baby, you know." And it's like all down your leg.
That baby
starting at
saved
your
my
crotch?
life.
Like, I don't think that's possible because this blanket is dry, but the baby would.
Oh my gosh, this is so good. Okay, so I looked up the body count, and of course, it's on the top 10 most body counts of any movie ever.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
So I'm just gonna go from number 12 would be Rambo, 2008, 247.
Yeah.
Saving
The newer Rambo.
Saving Private Ryan, 255 deaths, and that's World War II.
A war movie.
Yeah.
The most graphic
With
war
Normandy-
movie of all
With
time.
storming
Oh my
Normandy
gosh.
Beach. Did it.
Yeah. That's fair to put that one on the list.
Number 10, When We Were Soldiers, 305 deaths.
Fair.
Yeah.
Number 9, tying Hard Boiled, Titanic with 307 deaths.
Ooh, popsicles.
So good.
Wow. I'm kind of surprised they count that.
I know.
I don't know that we saw that many deaths.
Oh, it's so good. Okay, the next one
I don't know. There's a lot of frozen people floating.
I haven't seen this one, but it's
Yeah,
called
sure.
Grindhouse is number 7, 310. Lord of the Rings.
That's the Quentin Tarantino.
There we go.
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings, 468 deaths in 2 towers.
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
Big battles.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I mean,
Do orcs
Last
count?
Samurai, 558 deaths. Ugh.
Also big battles.
Troy, 572 deaths. 300, ironically enough, 600 deaths. Double that up. Kingdom of Heaven, terrible movie, 610 deaths. And number 1 of all
That's
time,
terrible.
is it that the one with, is it, yeah, no, it's terrible.
Orlando Bloom, Ridley Scott.
Oh, I thought it was the one with, I was thinking the one with Angelina Jolie and about Alexander.
Oh, I think that's called Alexander.
Oh, well, no wonder I couldn't think of the name. And then
With Colin Farrell.
Colin Farrell.
Colin Farrell.
Yeah.
Oh, that was
Troy was worse than
unwatchable. Troy was a good movie. I like Troy.
that.
Brad Pitt was so hot. Okay, number
He had a
one,
cool
number
set.
1 deaths of all time. Go. What do you think it is? Audience, you can shout out at home as well.
Number 1 deaths of all time.
I'll give you a clue. We've mentioned it's part of a quill.
The Matrix.
No. It's like maybe 100 tops, please. Just kill all Mr. Andersons.
I mean, there's
It's a threequel. It's a 3-song.
The third Lord of the Rings.
That's right.
Return of the King.
Return of the King. 836 deaths.
Those big elephant guys really wiped a lot of people out.
They did. There's a lot of
And
deaths.
like the ghosts,
lot.
you know.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Like literally, yeah. So
They
that's-
wiped out.
that they
makes
saw.
sense.
Yeah.
That's
So
fair.
that's fair. Okay. There we go. Sorry,
Okay,
a little tie right there.
Glad
That was-
we got into that.
Yeah, it was
No,
kind
that
of fun.
good.
That was kind of fun.
So Hard Boiled, a movie that takes place in a restaurant, a tea house,
And a hospital.
I have to say,
a warehouse.
it packs the most punch because it goes against
And
the
a hospital.
Titanic, a disaster movie, war movies,
a war
and
Yeah.
orcs and elves
Yeah.
dying. Like, let's be real here.
Fantasy killing.
It's so.
is pretty impressive.
So it's a very. I feel like per situation, it's really number one.
Well, and
like
back
if you
to
did.
the babies, I think they claim to have saved all of them. I mean, really, how many babies died?
No way.
You don't think all the babies
No way.
made it? I think all the
Dudes-
babies were fine. I'd like to think all
Dudes
the
get
babies
lit
were
up
fine.
on those ropes. I
Oh,
mean,
it's so good.
maybe they lived. There's babies with bullets in them, 100%.
Oh,
Probably.
jeez.
And they're all deaf or with third-degree burns. They kept their, like the window area they climbed down was so narrow, and they kept explosions
You're
kept
scaring the
happening right
babies.
next to them.
Put a cotton ball in their ear. They'll be
Fireballs, gunfire,
They're fine.
just the
No, they're fine.
sound of guns.
fine. Yeah.
Oh, it's so
No
good.
one of those babies are okay, and they're gonna grow up being like, I don't know what's wrong with me, but I feel broken. Something happened to me. And be like, don't worry about it.
Even if they all survived,
Oh,
they're not doing
There's
well.
no way. And also, I
Doing
don't think they all got to their real parents.
no,
I didn't
They're like,
see-
is that my baby? Sure.
I didn't see a
Not the
lot of
baby you
name
left
tags
here.
He didn't know if
going
it was
on.
their baby.
Oh.
No.
Also, why were they all in the nursery?
Also,
Why were there that
Yeah.
many babies in there?
it was
Why aren't you
it was
with
the
your parents
80s. It's
already?
fine.
There weren't enough adults in the whole movie to have that many babies.
Well, they said we can't get all these babies out of here. There's 2 of us. Like,
Not
there's
not
2 of
alive
you
adults.
and, like,
Not adults who
100
are still
babies,
alive,
and you
obviously.
can't
Yeah,
get them
not
out.
adults that are still
Because
alive.
they all died. All the parents died. There's
Oh,
no
yeah.
way the
What
parents are
was
still
the
alive.
deal? So there's a crazy thing. We have this hospital, and they're like, "Hey, pretty clever that this gun running scheme is all taking place beneath the
In
hospital."
the boiler room.
It was like a sci-fi lair situation.
Yeah,
with
yeah.
everything stainless steel, secret passageway
Hey,
stuff.
yeah,
What was that all about?
these 4 drawers where there should
Yes,
be
it's a
dead
door.
bodies. They have lights behind their name, the tag.
Yeah,
Like
convenient.
Beep, boop.
And also-
there's 2 buttons you push.
Are we going to talk about the
Why do you
computer?
need to push two?
Are we going to talk about the
Oh, look,
computer?
an orange light and a red light. Let's push orange, then red, and then the whole thing
We
And
have-
the
opens
door
up.
will open.
We haven't even brought up the whole musical escapades of the some reason having
right.
code. Don't forget.
Why was he sending coded messages through flower delivery?
The lion sleeps in the grass. What
and
is
then they
it?
typed
Also-
it into the computer.
Yeah. That
Yeah,
seemed
oh,
really unnecessary.
Do re mi fa so li ta di, and you're like,
Alan,
oh,
you,
it's 5 4 6 6
Alan,
7 night.
Alan, you just gunned down a mob boss and a whole bunch of his minions to send the flower message that makes no sense and doesn't help anyone.
And
Oh my gosh.
and then he just meets his boss on a rooftop out in the open
Yeah.
a different time
Oh my gosh.
for his birthday, and it's like nobody cares. No one's following you.
Yeah.
Like, what's with all the cloak and dagger
Yeah.
and like
So
the misdirect about some, like, it just all was so pointless in the side story stuff
Poor Alan. And why did he want to go to Antarctica?
because it was light, and he's tired of all this darkness.
Well, yeah. That was the one deep moment.
Because we heard that twice. 'cause
Twice.
when
But when he's sailing away, he's like wearing like not Antarctica ready clothes.
I mean, I don't think he's really going there. He can go wherever.
He thinks he is.
It's whatever.
Then he's
He
like,
can pick
this
up
is a
some gear
lot
on the
farther
way.
than I thought. He's gonna stop
And
at
make him
the bottom of Africa and be like, this is good enough.
There's so much like idiosyncrasies in the movie. The crane tilting every time he killed somebody, and like, it's just like I
hate
think
making cranes.
Thinking back to like Face Off, and you have like Nicolas Cage in that. It like that's you need that level of psycho in your movie to pull off some of those dumb things. And I know John Woo didn't write Face Off, but like the logic going out the window makes a little more sense when you're unhinged in your performances.
Well, like Johnny's unhinged for sure. Extremely.
Just even all that, like you killed our one guy, and I like you, and I'm gonna force you to kill your boss, or need you to kill me. Like the whole logic or rules around the triad thing was a little bizarre. Like, why did Johnny trust this number one of the other crew at all? Like, you're willing to bet your life that he would betray his boss?
He liked his style. He liked his style. He wanted him to work for him.
I like your style because you bonked this cop in public.
Yeah.
Oh, that was the other thing I totally missed. At the beginning, apparently, Tequila killed an undercover cop, right? That he didn't know was undercover.
Right.
That took me forever to figure out because they burned his file. Also, why did you burn his file?
They burn a lot of files.
Sometimes you can't be too careful. You got to use code. You got to use computers. You got to kill the birds, and you got to burn the files. Yeah. Like this is just part of the landscape, folks.
Clean up the mess.
You got to clean up the mess.
But that felt like he was annoyed about that, and then later,
it was like, hey, if you kill another undercover, you're in big trouble.
Yeah, I'm gonna be real mad.
You're on my radar, buddy.
Alan smokes a cop in the final fight, and he's like, "Was that a cop?" And he's like, "No, he wasn't a cop."
And
then later he's like, "Yeah, that
was a cop. Yeah, you killed a
cop.
Yeah,
it was a cop.
Another cop."
And it's like, but you'll be fine. I didn't feel good after.
I knew you were freaking out, so I had to tell you it wasn't.
Is that like we're even now? Yeah, we both killed cops.
Maybe.
It just was so bizarre. Movie.
Oh, it was nuts.
Yeah, but I think unlike Mariah, I did enjoy it. It was fun.
Wait, did Mariah say she enjoyed it? Because it sounded like she said the opposite.
No, I said unlike Mariah.
Oh, unlike. Okay, there we go. That makes
sense.
To
be fair to John Woo, I went into this expecting to hate it.
Yeah.
And I did at the beginning. Like at least the first half of it, maybe 2/3, and then finally Finally, there was something that resembled a bit of a story.
There we go.
And I was like, okay, these guys are getting chummy, and so there's at least that.
Right. Oh my gosh.
But it's hard pass in the future. Never again.
What if Teresa never reached in her pocket to find that flower?
Yeah. Did he just assume it's going to take her about 25 minutes to put her hand in her pocket and find that white rose in pristine condition in her wool coat? Because that rose is going to look great when she pulls it out. No. Sorry.
Roses are too obvious. Boy. Everyone knows that.
Yeah.
I've got a couple fun facts.
Oh, please go.
We're ready for fun facts.
I'm so beyond.
So apparently Tony Lung's character is meant to die proper. We have the soul leaving heaven, or leaving the body shot where we spiral up. The crew apparently was like, no, he should live. And John Woo reluctantly filmed that post shot of him on the boat. Be like, all right, he can live.
With all the cranes in the water.
Huh.
Meant to kind of sacrifice himself. And then the other bit that I thought was just from a filmmaking perspective bizarre. They didn't record any dialogue live. There were no boom mics, no sound equipment. Everyone just dubbed their own parts.
I don't think you had to do a deep dive investigation to figure that out.
I was like.
I mean, with the amount of guns,
Get out of here. Next thing
But
you're
yeah,
going to tell
so
me
it's
is the
just
good, the
all
bad, and the
done.
ugly wasn't original sound either.
Oh,
Get out of here.
No way.
That's
It wasn't,
crazy.
You know, it wasn't like dubbed in another, language. It was just they all were like, yeah, this is going to be garbage dialogue. You will eventually just have to
You're gonna
re-record
do
it.
it.
That's
later.
literally what they did for the good, bad, the ugly. There were several movies we've watched. They just don't record it live,
Well,
period.
this is going to be loud and messy. Like, good luck talking over that.
I mean, we do that for the podcast. We
Yeah.
actually just record the whole thing without sound, and then we dub over it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we might as well.
Might as well.
If you haven't been listening to this muted, you might want to change.
Oh, yep.
I write the script after we've done the
Oh, that'd be amazing.
recording.
Okay.
We had this set available, so we thought we'd just shoot in it and then figure out what the story is like.
Mm-hmm.
So
We haven't watched the movie yet.
this movie has been placed at number 70 on Empire's list of 100 best films of world cinema.
Mm.
Feel like that was misplaced.
Do you think it's just
Maybe a little
because of its foray into this changing the way action films are shot? Because it might just be like, hey, this is the beginning of American films starting to become more.
I can appreciate that it like kind of set up a very loose formula for future action films and the way things are shot.
I mean,
and so I can acknowledge that you can appreciate some of that.
it's fun to watch the original thing that we all make fun of now.
Yeah.
That was, but I guarantee if I'd never seen anything like this, I'd be like, this is freaking awesome.
Yeah.
It'd be like,
Yeah.
it's like watching Michael Bay shots. Like, are any of Michael Bay's movies good to watch? No, but his camera moves are unparalleled. They're impossible.
Yeah. I mean, there's some iconic stuff, right?
Yeah,
The rising
so
into
inconstant.
shot, the spinning around.
You just can't you just can't pull it
Good
off.
stuff.
Yeah.
It's
So
unfortunate that the content is too bad.
well, sure.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Give or take. I mean, I'll
Is-
rewatch The Rock.
Is
anytime.
well,
is
everyone would rewatch The Rock
this
all day, every day.
unless it's Black Adam. The Rock. Sorry, not The
No.
Rock.
Just The Rock.
I see what I did there. Is this the least snobby movie we've watched? I'd say no. We still we watched A
No.
Wonderful Life, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of snobby because
Oh,
of
sure.
it's a little like the plot is low, but the impact on cinema was big.
Yeah.
Like,
I
so
mean,
it's not.
So,
foreign.
on that-
That's a little snobby.
Yeah.
It wasn't a different language. If
Yeah.
you were American, that's slightly snobby on its own.
Mm.
I was curious, Seth. Do you
Yeah.
know, like, had he done some new woo in this movie specifically, or was this just kind of like everything's turned to 11 as far as his style was concerned?
You mean John Woo
This
himself in this movie?
In Hard Boiled, yes.
He just
or was like
he just
previous
got
John Woo movies kind of.
this one got better. He did it better in this movie than in other movies.
Okay. Yeah,
Which
so
Mariah's
it's
gonna laugh even
APEX.
more about. Like, so this is kind of like the peak of his Hong Kong era.
It really
Where-
makes me want to go back. See all of the other sick.
but because 3 movies earlier he was doing some of this stuff, but it just wasn't as well done. Because then when he jumps to Hollywood, like he's got the money and the resources behind it to really make it smoother and amazing.
Yeah.
But this is the pinnacle of his Hong Kong.
Well, I appreciate
Prowess.
what he did once he got to Hollywood. Mostly.
So
Yeah.
you're glad he cut his teeth in Hong Kong to get stuff going. Yeah.
I can appreciate how,
By the way,
building
John,
something that made them say, hey, you should come over here and do
did
some
you guys do a
stuff."
little history of John Woo? Because he was like, he lived in mainland China in Guangzhou and like got kicked out from the communists. His family did, and then they got moved into like the poor district of Hong Kong in the Kowloon, like sketchy area, like where all the stuff happens. So like, I'm sure all these movies like are kind of like they went from like they were like I think they were a Christian Chinese family that got persecuted and kicked out of mainland China, and then so you can see some of those like influences in his movie as well. So it's interesting. he's lived he's lived a life. He's seen things, and
Yeah.
so
Very
these
rags to
movies are
riches.
sure like ridiculous, but there's also like he wants people to feel the realness of a fight instead of just like that's not how it feels. So getting the feeling of how awful it is to die, this is like a much more explosive and visceral way to feel it rather than just like shot, fall over.
Well, it definitely looked bad for any of those people to die.
Yeah, no,
Nobody looked like
'cause
they had a nice
Didn't
clean
look like they're having a
death.
good
blood equals pain. Pain is bad. Shoot, maybe death is bad. Who knew?
Yeah, he sells it.
He sells it.
Yeah, he doesn't make
Maybe
it look
this life
glamorous.
of crime isn't good.
Maybe it doesn't pay. All right, so shall we do the drink? What drink is? Or do we have any? Are there any more facts, Pat? Or fact master?
I don't have any more fun facts.
Yeah, for me, I was just really interested in John Woo because he was born in China, and I think what age was he when he moved over? But I just thought that was interesting because like he's seen things.
What's funny to me, I think, remembering back to I think probably Mission Impossible 2, where they kind of made a big deal out of John Woo directing that.
Oh yeah,
Even though
huge deal.
I'd seen the earlier ones.
Yeah, Broken Arrow and Face
And
Off.
just this kind of stylishness and that felt like snobby in a way. Like it was a snobby choice
for
for
sure.
Mission Impossible.
Yes, you're exactly
choose
right.
John Woo.
You're exactly right.
Even though the first one was who directed the first Mission Impossible? Another acclaimed director.
Oh sure. I'll get there. You go on your point.
Alfred Hitchcock.
But it just felt
Let me help.
like to go back to this and be like, oh, it's
Brian
like
De
there's
Palma.
style. Yeah, Brian De Palma. Yeah, like that dude's legit
Yeah, he's
director.
legit too, for sure.
So it wasn't like they took a step
No.
down. It just took a very different step
approach. Yeah,
stylistically.
which was very fun.
Which was-
did that.
which was interesting.
Going from Carlito's Way to freaking hard boiled.
I remember feeling like it was like exotic in this weird way. And of course,
Yeah.
Mission Impossible 2, I think, is like a pretty good introduction to John Woo-ness. Like
Oh yes,
Tom
exactly
Cruise
right.
had long flowing hair, and we had
so good.
dancing car crashes
Yep.
and motorcycle fights and impossible gun,
Oh, so good.
craziness. Right? Like it's a fun movie. It's not my favorite Mission Impossible, but it's a good one. And it's just funny going back to this and being like, oh yeah, you're just like a dude who likes spectacle with guns. Like I
You're a
wouldn't put him in
dude
like a tour.
playing a dude. No, sorry.
Yeah, pretending. Yeah, like, and maybe this is me de-snobbing him in some way, but like he's not like this. He's not snobby. He just is a very special or unique visual voice.
Yes.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
But it feels very like for the masses. Like I want everyone to just appreciate this. I'm not doing something I think is complicated and deep necessarily. It's just like this is a
Right.
feeling I enjoy. Here you go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, it's good. I
any sense
like that.
that-
No, I
that
like
we
that a
were right?
lot
Yeah.
because it is.
I
It,
like explosions,
Yeah,
and
exactly
I'm
right.
gonna make you feel them.
well, we wouldn't have Quentin Tarantino without John Woo.
No.
That's the other thing too. Like
There'd
he's
be
also
no Kill Bill.
there'd be no Kill Bill. There'd be no Django Unchained. There'd be no Reservoir Dogs.
Yeah, there's a big
Like
influence in
huge
Reservoir Dogs, for sure.
influence. So, yeah, like it obviously has impacted directors and actors that we think the world of. And honestly, I don't think less of John Woo for Hard Boiled at all. This is
No.
like it's still like watching Hong Kong movies of that era, and then also just watching movies before that with gunfights. Like this is like so cool, and like this is Matrix level changing. Like
Yeah.
it's
I can
it's,
appreciate watching the movie that was his ticket to come over.
Oh
here.
yeah,
Like
for
I
sure.
can appreciate that. I saw the last one he did before he came over and
Well,
got him into
and
this.
as an action director, it's great. Like I never
yeah.
felt like I don't know what's going on. Like it's over the top and crazy, but like
Yeah.
visually it is exciting and frenetic and fun without making me sick or being like, what's happening?
Right.
Like it's cool action.
Yeah.
Just put in a movie that's kind of weak, in
Dude,
terms of like what we're actually watching.
Yeah.
We haven't done this. We need like a snob level of like each of our movies, like 10 being like
Well,
Citizen Kane and 1 being like, the Barbie movie. Well, the Barbie movie is actually better than
Barbie
some.
movie's kind of snobby.
The Barbie, well, it's not snobby because everyone saw it,
It's deep though.
but it is deeper than it.
Dumb and Dumber.
No, Dumb and Dumber is freaking great, and no one in this generation even knows
I'm
it
not
anymore.
saying it's not great.
So I guess what would be Jackass? Would that be our one? I don't even know.
I mean,
Jackass
we'll
is
maybe
great.
have to work on our.
We'll have to work on our scale.
spectrum.
Joe
But like, what would the?
Double
Oh, I
meter.
love Joe Dirt. You are my sister. What would be our? Would this be up there? Would this be or I've already asked this question in one way, but I'm not sure if this movie is snobby or not.
It's only snobby because it's foreign.
Yeah.
Well, it's only snobby because no one's seen this version of John Woo.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
John Woo before John Woo.
And I also
to the
kind of want to
masses.
make an excuse for John Woo, knowing that one of the screenwriters died, and
Yeah.
they
That's
had to
right.
like
I forgot about that.
change so much,
Yeah.
or adjust or whatever. I mean, things happen.
Went on vacation and
Yeah.
didn't come back.
Yeah, I mean, he had some stuff to, so like, I can excuse a little bit of the lack of cohesive
Sure.
plot.
Yeah.
It's snobby in that it's foreign. It's a little snobby in the influence category.
Yeah, and I went for the influence more than like the fact that it's a Hong Kong movie. Because if we're going to Hong Kong, you better believe I would have gone Jackie Chan or Bruce Lee.
Well,
'Cause-
Bruce Lee for sure.
For sure. And it's actually, it's the anniversary of Enter the Dragon, 50th anniversary
Oh,
this year.
is
What?
it? Why didn't we do that?
Well, because American Graffiti and Enter the Dragon came out the same time, basically. Yeah. Well, spoiler. By the way, go back and listen to American Graffiti. It's on all the streaming podcasts. What should we end it, folks? Should we land this plane?
We should be done.
Okay,
I'm done with
because
you guys.
it's a great movie, but it's not. Let's put it that way. That's kind of how I feel about it, because it
led to some great movies.
and it's still like it changed. It's hard to watch it without not with being from this era, because it's so taken for granted. So what
I
drink?
think everyone in this movie did something better than this
Okay.
movie.
Right.
I got
It
my
was fun seeing
I
them
got
all
my drink.
together.
I got my beer.
right,
This
you start.
This of course would be either the one that you add an orange to, shock top, or what's the other one?
Shock Top. Blue Moon.
Blue Moon. This is Blue Moon. Because you thought it was awesome when you first had beer, and you're like, this is the best thing I've ever had. And then when you started drinking beer, you're like, this isn't very good anymore, because everything else is better.
Then this would be kokanee. Or Rolling Rock. This is
Rolling Rock. It's not that ghetto. Come on, maybe early on. See, I'm going like high class beer at least, because like
I didn't know
Yeah,
at
Blue
the
Moon.
time.
Still.
Blue Moon's like a good
People
like,
like Blue Moon.
this is getting into the snobby beers, but not quite, because Rolling Rock like
No matter what, it comes with an orange slice. So.
That's right. So you're high class.
Yeah.
Shock Top was like the trashier version later, but Blue Moon is my choice because it was the first one that most of us who drink beer in that era liked, and now we don't drink ever because it's not as good as everything else.
Mad Dog 2020.
Shoot.
Boone's Farm.
I don't know what it is, but you pour it into a whiskey glass and you slam a napkin on top.
I want the
Why is it not tequila?
Alka-Seltzer chaser
Can I get the
thing.
tequila Alka-Seltzer? That'd be great. Oh my
Did we not
gosh.
find out? Did the research team not
Oh, did
figure
we
out
not
what
even look that
drink
up?
was?
This is a drinking podcast.
I-
We still
What
don't know
are they
that.
drinking?
What drink in hard boiled?
In our defense, a lot of time passed.
Tequila
between
Slammer is what it's
It
called.
was a slammer. I mean, makes
He
sense.
did slam it.
But what was in it?
What is-
The drink
7-Up.
is straight up chilled without ice, rocks and glass. Oh no, it is
that's
1 part
that's not
7
what
Up.
he had.
Ginger ale, Sprite, or Mountain Dew, and then 1 part tequila.
And
then
I wonder if it was like a ginger ale of some kind.
you could have the Slammer Royale if you had champagne instead of soda pop.
Oh.
Fancy.
And are you supposed to put a napkin in?
It's usually you leave a fifth of the glass empty to allow the drink to fizz. Then you hold it one hand over the glass and slam it into a hard surface to mix it. So that's legit.
So
except
he
the
just
napkin.
put the napkin on there.
So, folks, that is legit.
Wow.
Tequila
I should
Slammer.
give it.
The tequila slammer, folks. There you go.
How many people have broken their glasses?
Here's the thing. I like my tequila slammer shaken, not stirred.
I like Alka-Seltzer with my tequila
There
Slammer.
we go.
And when you do that wet napkin at the end.
Gross. Yeah, just
I
not
like
good.
a little wet paper on the edge.
I got, use like the coaster.
I mean,
Right? That's going to
That
be
would be-
better.
you guys probably already know this, but the first appearance of the tequila slammer was in Elvis Presley in Fun in Acapulco. I mean, we've all seen it. We all know
clearly.
it, obviously.
Oh, of course.
And then it was also in John Woo's Hard Boiled. Have you guys seen that?
I might have seen
One
Might have
time,
seen it.
Never gonna watch it.
All right, folks, that's it. We're done. Thanks for joining us for this John Woo special of How to Be a Movie Snob. I'm Seth,
I'm Pat.
Mariah.
and we want you to keep watching movies to become a movie snob. Until next week, guys, take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Doozy.
Doozy, bye.